Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another Bite-Sized Branding live show. We're a little bit late today because of technical issues, mostly mine, pretty much all mine. In fact, it was all me. It was just me. Yeah. Sometimes I struggle with technology. It's true. It happens. But we have a great show lined up today. I met Amanda not too long ago, was extremely excited, and we have a lot of alignment around what's happening in the manufacturing world. So we demanded that she make an appearance on this show, and she gratefully sent us an invoice for $10,000, which is not going to get paid, but she's going to feature on the show anyway. She doesn't know we're not going to pay it. But hi, welcome, Amanda. Now you can't leave. And as always, my right-hand man, Grant, thanks again for jumping on, my friend.
Good.
Give everyone a breakdown of how the show is going to run today, and then we'll kick it back to Amanda to hear a bit more about 𝗖𝗄𝗃.
Well, Bernard, thanks very much. And Amanda, welcome to the show. And my name is Grant Tom, and I'm known as the head fire starter of the marketing and advertising industry. And what that means is that I have a passion for businesses to get and generate ideas and make them launch and grow and become valuable to their customers. And what we talk about on the show is we talk about subject matter. We've only got 5 minutes with the view to unbundle a subject or a question that we're going to ask. But when we bring a guest on, we have 2 extra minutes just to be able to get the added value. So welcome, Amanda, to the show, and we look forward to getting to know your knowledge and your insight and your experience in the subject of PR.
Well, that's like it's a perfect little segue there, because the next question is, tell us a little bit more about 𝗖𝗄𝗃. In fact, what I would really like to know, other than all the stuff that you do, is where the name 𝗖𝗄𝗃 come from?
So my nickname's Panda, Amanda Panda, and my favorite color is yellow. So I kind of thought, well, there's a good ring to it. And then in, sort of thinking about the development even of the logo, thinking, oh, I can put a panda head in there somewhere. Yeah. So I don't have to actually say yellow panda. It can be, the logo itself, I'm really proud of the logo, but it just works. It's really memorable. It really sticks quite well.
Yeah,
awesome. So tell us a little bit more about 𝗖𝗄𝗃 and what you guys do.
So we are a public relations and communications agency that specialises in the personal branding and essentially building the reputations of founders and CEOs and public figures. That comes from my previous career doing the same for politicians in the federal and state parliament. So if I could help them, get votes and win elections, then I could surely help business people bring more feet through the door and grow and scale their companies by helping raise their profile. Our tagline is that we help build magnetic reputations. So it's really about the work that we do is about attracting, the target publics in and making sure that you are, front and center.
That is a great elevator pitch. I feel like stealing parts of it. That was solid. Like, send me a quote. I want to know what am I in for? Tell me the damage.
$1 million.
I'll send it to you in 5-cent coins. You're welcome.
Do they even exist anymore? I don't think the mint's making them anymore.
I haven't seen.
They might be more valuable.
I don't even know what coins look like these days. Who uses cash? It's a very weird exchange. Look, one thing that we really aligned on, which kind of preempted this catch up, was that we have a very strong focus around manufacturing. My business partner, who you featured on his show, MIA podcast, which is all about manufacturing in Australia. And it's an interesting space. And based on your description just then, I've got a side question. So Grant, don't kill me, but it's a side question. What drew you to manufacturing? What in that, that positioning that you just told us, bringing feet through the doors, positioning the CEO and business owner, what in manufacturing has kind of drew people to your service?
I think first and foremost, like I like industry, heavy industry. I like more of the technical side of business and construction. I guess the non-sexy sort of sectors of PR. A lot of people go into PR and they want to be doing beauty and fashion and opening up nightclubs and restaurants and that sort of thing and working with celebrities. But for me, coming from a background in politics and sort of being in the engine room of understanding, what really is getting the economy going, I guess I wanted to go and apply my skill set and help people who I knew could genuinely help, advance humankind in the country. So for me, like, I feel good knowing that I'm helping, people in manufacturing and other heavy industry because, it has an effect on the entire circular economy.
100%. 100%. Couldn't have said it better. In fact, I couldn't have said it myself. That's why. Awesome. Let's kick into some questions. And the first question we do have is really around that manufacturing sector. What is it that you're seeing right now? What are the trends? What's buzzing out there that people are talking about? What's the chatter in the manufacturing space? I'll hit the timer if I can get it organized. Yes, I did not remember my stand. Sorry, everybody. Sometimes.
Yes, I can see.
Yeah, it's one of those days.
Here we go.
It's one of those days.
I think one of the first things that I'm really happy to see there being more talk of recently in manufacturing from a PR comms and marketing perspective is the role of leadership marketing. And I've just spoken at length on MIA about the importance of founders, CEOs, and spokespeople of manufacturing in Australia. Going out there and being the spokespeople of their industries, their businesses, the challenges that are being faced, and really putting themselves out there and showing good leadership, because we need good leadership. We don't have good leadership in this country. And if we're really going to see the advancement of manufacturing, then we need to have leaders at the helm doing that. And we talked about how, the trickle-down effect of that is, attracting good people into your teams and retaining good people in your teams, being able to get good partnerships, being able to look at export markets with having, that exposure and that, prestigious brand and that general awareness out there, which is so important. So we're seeing that becoming more adopted in Australia. In the past, we've always had issues with tall poppy syndromes, and I think some of the old school manufacturers wouldn't be comfortable going out and putting themselves out there. But as I said before on the last podcast, it's absolutely business owners' responsibility to promote themselves and their businesses. So we're just going to get over that and realize that we're actually doing it for a greater cause. We're not just doing it to try and, for our own commercial interest. We're doing it because we actually want to see this industry thrive. So it's a responsibility, and we need good leadership, and we need people to be confident and go out there and do it, because you're not confidently going out and selling your business. You're not going to attract confidence. You get out what you put, get back what you put out. And, PR, marketing, branding, reputation building, it's all about projecting, yourself out there in front of the target audience in the hopes that you actually capture them and bring them back in. So I'm really happy to see that. I think the other thing that's new in manufacturing is obviously during COVID, we had to readdress and sort of rejig our communication strategies and our PR strategies along the way, because there were so many changes happening and we didn't want to be tone deaf. We need to make sure that our key messages were on point throughout that. So what we're seeing now is the emergence out the other side of COVID. So we are looking at like Laminex, for example, are bringing back manufacturing to Melbourne after being in China for 20 years. So we're starting to see a lot of, return to Australia, a lot of campaigns around bring it home messaging. So that I would say is pretty new at the moment, pretty fresh, and what everyone's focusing on, as is, export. So looking at export opportunities as well, now that we can start to trade internationally again. So we needed to look at our international communications and how we're actually, engaging with stakeholders, and partners and government, etc., internationally now, in order to take advantage of the fact that everything's open again and people can get on planes now and go do deals in Asia Pacific, New Zealand, the US, wherever it may be.
I think historically Australian manufacturers haven't been very good at breaching international markets, though Australian products have such a great international reputation. And you see so many brilliant products that are manufactured here in Australia and never get international exposure. And you're like, what are you waiting for? There is a much bigger market out there that respect and appreciate your product, even better sometimes. Definitely now people really barrack behind Australian made, but historically we haven't been too gun-ho about Australian products. But the international markets, China and the US, man, I just remember walking through the supermarkets in the US when I was there, and you see Australian products sprinkled everywhere. There's such a respect for the quality of product we create, but most manufacturing never breach the market.
And that just comes down to manufacturers not actually going after it, because there's Austrade out there. There's a lot of help. There's a lot of assistance from a government perspective. If you are wanting to export and trade, that you can obviously jump on, but there's a lot of work involved. It's not simple. It's not like I just want to export. It's like there is a lot of work involved. So as a business owner, you've got to be prepared to front up the, I guess, first and foremost, the cost of what it would cost to actually get ready to export, but then also have the right team in place and the right specialist structure and consultants to help you get there. It's one of those things that, it's going to be a big upfront investment, but it's going to have potential long-term gain. But I think just getting over that initial hump of the work involved and the investment involved to actually export, particularly at a time when most people have actually gone backwards over the last 2 years by keeping their teams employed and there being a slowdown in manufacturing. I think manufacturers are feeling still a little bit nervous about going and doing big things like exporting. I know a lot of clients were looking at exporting just before COVID hit, and they've actually put that plan on hold for the next couple of years. But certainly now and into the future, I think this is a good time to start looking at exporting, and not just exporting for the sake of the business, but also thinking about the communications plan behind exporting, because a lot of it is about needing to have this great reputation as an Australian manufacturer in order to actually export and, get those deals happening overseas.
Yeah.
And that's how all those international brands made success breaking into the Australian market, was reputation. We bought based on their international reputation, and yeah, it's kind of like those unsung heroes, the silent achievers, and yeah, a bit of it is that tall poppy syndrome. We think it's being humble, but you're actually going unnoticed, and there is a huge opportunity for these guys to kind of stand up and say, look, we're here, and we're making good stuff. Grant, you've been uniquely silent. Yeah, there he is.
But the pandemic has also been very influential in the sense of how you have to think now. It's very different of how you used to do it as to how you're expected to, and that's where there is great opportunity.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, hard times create, strong men, and obviously, spurts of innovation and change and drive. So we are definitely seeing that. So long as our manufacturers and then, the founders at the helms of these businesses and the directors are not completely burnt out at this point, which a lot of them are. A lot of them have not had, much downtime in the last couple of years. They will be able to spring onto the next thing, but it's really about managing that at the moment too, the energy, which is why, working with external PR providers or marketing agencies is so important right now, because you can't be doing everything yourself. If you're tired and you're burnt out, you've got to focus on what you can put your effort into that's going to have the biggest impact on your bottom line right now.
Man, you sound like a politician. Jesus.
Come and vote.
Oh, look. Oh, no.
Vote one, Amanda Panda.
I think that would be the best political campaign ever. I think you should. You should. That'll be awesome. Every time you show up and do like a presentation or conference or something, you have like a giant panda dancing in the background. That'll be ultimate. Yeah. Could you imagine the media hype?
That's it. I think you'd win.
You got our votes. That's cool. That's cool. Any last words? Do you want to wrap up anything, Mr. Grant?
Look, one of the things that I found very interesting about the segment was very much in the sense of where business owners need to think at this point in time, and their business owners are quite shy within this space. But at this, like Amanda said, you just got to get over it. This is now the new trend. This is the new method. And this is what you got to do. And basically, as she was talking, I was thinking about the huge opportunity that manufacturers have in Australia to break into the international world. And through this methodology, this is the opportunity to leapfrog them into that space. So I think that there's no more excuses of being too far away anymore. It's about just getting into those market space and creating a little bit of edutainment in the sense of what you do and how you do it. And that's basically what it's all about.
Well played, Grant. Well played. I noticed something in there, Amanda, that there's more to you than just PR. There's a commercial knowledge around international and exports, manufacturing. Where did that come from? Like a little secret, she just slipped it in there.
Oh, look, I'm just an absolute sponge. Like I am absolutely obsessed with, e-commerce business, industry. I mean, obviously being very exposed to it in politics, I used to have to write all of the speeches that spoke to legislation of all the rules getting passed in, all of the regulation, red tape that's wrapped around business currently in different industries. Like I used to be there dissecting it, turning it into words.
Oh, that was you.
To speak about. and to relate that back to a local community or a local business or a local issue. So I've been in that space for a very long time. We're over 10 years, you know, being across that sort of stuff. But if I'm working with someone, you know, I make it my duty to really understand the industry as well. So, you know, having worked with clients in manufacturing for 3.5 years now, like I have, you know, gone through, I go through all of these processes with them. I learn so much. It's so awesome. You know, like having clients across different portfolios and different industries and being a business owner myself, and then being able to learn from other business owners and what challenges they're going through, and being part of that problem solving process is like the best thing ever. That's why I do what I do. Yeah.
Same. It's so exciting. And I was saying to one of my team, like, it doesn't matter what industry somebody's in, what the business is, there is a genuine level of interest. Like, I'm excited by their business. I'm excited about the opportunity. I'm excited to invest in it and learn it and become a part of it. And I don't think there's enough of that out there. Like, if you're gonna do business with someone, do it wholly, you know, want to be a part of it, you know? And on that overly long wrap up between segments, it actually kind of brings us to the next question quite well. So, you know, a lot of people are going out there talking, there's a lot of chatter around PR, the value of PR, the ease of it, you know, can I do it myself? Why don't I just do it myself? What are some of the do's and don'ts that you're seeing out there with PR, and what are the recommendations that you would make around if you are to get engaged in a PR campaign? I'll grab the little clock. This is so awkward. I don't like doing this one.
So both do-it-yourself PR and actually having an expert PR agency or consultant or freelancer working for you, they both have their pros and cons, and they both serve different parts of the entrepreneurial journey. And what I mean by this is that when you're starting out a business and you don't have the funds and you don't have the case studies and you don't actually have anything newsworthy, you shouldn't really be engaging in PR until you have some of those things. You shouldn't be spending any money on any kind of PR unless you have a marketing funnel set up, a sales strategy, you know, because a lot of people will come to me and think, oh, you're going to do PR, and by you making me famous in the media, I'm going to end up with so much work and I won't have to worry about having a salesperson or a sales team or a marketing funnel, because you're going to be responsible for bringing in every single dollar that comes into my business. That is not how it works. When we look at the marketing funnel, PR is at the top. We're at the awareness stage. We help people bring into the funnel. Then we go into the consideration phase. We help a little bit with that too, because if someone has never come across your brand before and they see an article about you or see people talking about you, that's going to help with their, you know, social proof of them actually trusting you to go through to the conversion part of the funnel. And then after the conversion part of the funnel, you know, they're going to turn into, like, hopefully a raving supporter that's going to go out and help spread the message as well. So, you know, PR can be great for that, but if you don't have those other systems set up in your business, you're not ready for PR. So when I talk to people, you know, like most agencies will charge anywhere, I think like average retainer is around $12,000. Last time I looked at the Public Relations Institute of Australia said the average PR retainer was $12,000 a month. There are not a lot of businesses who can afford $12,000 a month, but they might be at the point where they have got some cool newsworthy things and they do have their marketing and sales systems set up. So they could maybe look at trying to do some of their own PR, and there's some good educators out there that will actually help small business do that. That's a whole other, you know, area of PR that if I wanted to, I could work in. I could go into training small business owners to do their own PR if that's what I wish to do. But where I choose to work is at the higher end by having a small boutique agency with senior PR professionals, helping businesses who are doing multi-million-dollar turnover, who have been in business for, you know, 5 or 10 years or more, who are wanting to go to that next level. They're wanting to export. They're wanting to grow their brand. They're wanting to build their profile. They're wanting to be seen as a premium. They're wanting to be seen as the best. They want to, you know, they want to stamp out all of their competition. You know, they will hire us to come in because they know that that's a strategic business decision to pay an external agency to come and take care of all of their PR and communications so they can focus on what they do best, which is, you know, in most cases, the director or founder of the company is going to be the visionary. Their job is to keep figuring out where are the goalposts, where are we going, what are the opportunities on the horizon, how are we going to get there? And then they will generally have like an integrator or a CEO or someone who's going to be helping them make sure that the team and there's people in place to get them there. They don't want to be sidetracked by having to write their own press releases and trying to figure out how to go make friends with journalists. And you know, it does not make sense for a business of that size doing that kind of turnover with those kind of goals to be handling their own PR. So that's where we come in.
how easy is it to get that international exposure? Because I would then suspect it's a much more competitive market than trying to get national or state publicity.
Yeah, well, you need to have built up a pretty decent portfolio here first, right? You know, if you're going to go after international media and they go straight on Google and they go to look you up and there's not one thing that exists about you on Google and you've had no press coverage and no media coverage and you're just like a nobody, then it's going to be very hard, because why would they put an Australian business, you know, through the media when, you know, there's billions of people in the US, you know, US, they look up, they're very patriotic, they look after their own, like they're gonna promote one of their own before they promote one of us. So you want to make sure that you were, you know, exceptional, that you were standing out, that you were someone that they knew that if they featured you, they get lots of clicks on their articles that would, you know, in turn help, you know, their business objectives as well. So that's what we're going to think about. It's not about how great your story is and how great you think it is. It's how great your story is, or how much it's going to influence or impact or be engaged by the general public. And that's what editors and journalists are looking at in their decisions of like what makes the media from like a publicity perspective. It's what's going to get clicks, what's going to get engagement.
But you mentioned a very important thing there, you know, about editors who are publishing articles and content for their readers. And basically, you have learned the kind of tricks that they are looking for with the view to create validity for these businesses to get that exposure. And that in itself is where business owners fall down, because they don't know those kind of tricks in the sense of how to make the story appealing. They think it's great because it's their little baby, but yet it actually sucks in the room because it's too much or too little, and therefore the editor can't do much with it and therefore discards it very quickly and gets very quite a frustrating process.
Yeah. I mean, the way, you know, a quick lesson on how we do it is, you know, we look at like what have been the trending articles in this space on this topic, like what is actually, you know, you do a quick news search on some topics and see what's actually presenting on page 1 and 2 as being like trending articles, and what are they talking about and who's being featured in them and what angles are they taking. You can do like an angle analysis essentially. And if you were to try and search something and it didn't exist at all, then, you know, one thing could be like, well, no one cares about it. But the other thing could be, hey, this hasn't been discussed before. Untapped. Like this could be untapped. So, and that's the thing, like it's all trial and error with PR. That's why we don't get a run at absolutely everything that we do, but we have, you know, options. We have different options for different target audiences on different, you know, different pitch angles for different publications, for different opportunities, you know, even different types of, you know, like, you know, comms, where we look at podcast interviews, or if we're looking at, you know, going on television or doing radio interviews versus writing op-eds or doing social media stuff or creating a reel or going and speaking at an event. Like there's so many different ways you can promote yourself and get out there. People think PR, they just think getting in the media, but it's much bigger than that. Yeah,
much broader. Yeah, especially these days, because there's so many media outlets, so many information channels that you can access or share your content on. And like you said before, like people have a similar expectation with marketing, and marketing has kind of sold themselves down the river, making people think that it's a silver bullet approach. Oh, you just switch it on and then all of a sudden stuff starts happening. Mate, it's still the same thing. You've got to test it. You've got to see what the market likes, what they respond to, what they engage with. And then you determine the effectiveness of it, and you refine and you tweak and you know, and you keep going from there. And a lot of people just want that silver bullet approach. I always say to people though, it's like when you're a baby and you're learning to walk, you don't just stand up one day and start walking. And nor is it the same when you start your business. You don't start your business day one and you start making millions. And that's the same with how you market and you sell the business, the marketing, the PR, the sales side of the business. You don't just switch it on and then the next day you start making more money. So
no, it compounds. And the problem is when you put those pauses in and you stop and start, you just
and it ruins it all. Yeah.
The worst.
Yeah. Why do you even get started? And the thing is that they always stop right when it starts, right? They say like just in business, you know, when it's at its hardest, is that the moment that you stop, or you just on the cusp of the next great thing, you know?
You're not getting the same with
Sorry? Yeah. And And it's the same thing with marketing. Most people switch it off at month 3, month 4. That's when you
So
start
say the itchy
to
feet
feel it.
starts at month 3. Yeah, it's always that. It's itchy feet, month 3, 4. Like absolutely, you've hit the nail on the head. I experience this all the time. All of my friends in different disciplines of marketing and PR say exactly the same thing. It's like they get to a 3-month mark. That is literally just when you've sown all the seeds and it's about to explode on the other side.
Yep. And then they go, look, guys, it's not getting the results we expected, but we're just going to cut it here. And you're like, what you expected is right behind that door, but you just said, I'll leave the door closed. I'll leave it closed for now.
Yeah, it's super frustrating. Like that's the thing. Like I guess in the qualifying, we need to be saying to people like this is a minimum 6, but generally a 12-month commitment if you if you actually want to see your money work. And that's like we're talking before about do's and don'ts and PR. Do not go into PR thinking that you can treat it as a month-by-month thing and opt out whenever you've decided that it's not working. Because the reason you've hired us is because we're experts and we know what we're doing. So trust us when we say that we are building a runway and we've got to build that runway long enough to get some takeoff. Correct. And it's not going to work if we've got chunks of the runway missing. We're not going to take off. We're going to have an accident.
It's treated so differently to an employee. When you get an employee, it takes 3 months before they even start to get hit rubber to the road. Then once you get to that 6-month mark, that's when you start to really they start to really be effective. And business owners are willing to put a year, 2 years, 3 years into an employee. But then they engage us to help grow their business, and they're like, you know what, just 3 months, that'll do. Where like $12,000 a month is what? It's what they would pay less like 50% of most workforces now probably sitting at that kind of money. So you're going to spend that kind of money or less, and you're going to say no after 3 months. Like you got a workforce behind you, not just one person. That's a very small investment to make.
It's just education though. It comes down to education and it comes down to, instant gratification world that we live in now, everyone wanting everything straight up. And too many people talking about there being magic, magic bullets of this and that, buy this horse, buy that, people will learn for themselves. And that's the main thing.
I think they are actually, we're sensing that kind of change and evolution in the market, that people are being more discerning and are sometimes slower to choose, but when they make a choice, they invest in it. And it's a really cool change. I'm also seeing a lot of people, or hearing a lot of people, turning away from social media. So the younger generation is turning towards TikTok, but my generation, like the 30s, the 40s, they're actually saying, you know what, I don't even care. I don't want to be on these platforms at all, because it's a distraction. It doesn't add value anymore. It's just, it causes disconnection. It causes fractures. It causes drama, So which
is why it's even more important to go after your niche, know exactly who it is you need to target, where they hang out and how you get them. Sometimes you might not, my clients don't need to worry about TikTok because we know that the people they're trying to get in front of aren't on TikTok. So it's about knowing where to go to fish.
Yeah. Exactly. And on that, what's one really cool example of a project you worked on recently? Where did you find the greatest engagement for that? What generated the success metric for that case study or that client?
Even though I've got quite a few different things I could talk about manufacturing, but it would stem back to more of these campaigns are ongoing. So again, what we were saying before, there are long-term campaigns that continue to be great for engagement and brand building and authority building, and they are the campaigns around the stakeholder engagement. So one way we facilitate helping build out additional networks and stakeholders for one client is with the media monitoring that we're doing every day. If we come across articles that are written by or have any comments in there by someone in the industry who is a key person of influence that's doing something great, we'll actually go and prepare a well thought out reach out template for our client to send that person to tell them that they were, moved, impressed, agreed with their sentiments or their statements, etc., to help create a genuine connection over a shared interest or value, as opposed to generic LinkedIn, I'd love to connect with your network, please add me, that type thing. So I find that we get really good traction from that because people love it when you've paid attention to what they do. Same can be said for journos. When we're doing media relations, generally following their social media and commenting on their stories and their articles before actually asking them to write something, showing them that you're showing up in their community and paying attention to the work that they do first. So yeah, like we always find that process is really good from a stakeholder engagement perspective. And the other is obviously working with government, like having a good, particularly for manufacturing, like having a good government lobbying sort of process in play in terms of knowing who your local, federal and state and, LGA representatives are. Invite them out to your business, like get to know the people in politics, because they are there to represent you. You are a constituent, you're an employer in their region, you're looking after local jobs and you're helping support the local economy. Like they want to get to know you. We used to have to find businesses who were friendly enough to let us go out and do those, policy announcements and visits come election time. So it's really useful to bring them in. We had a client who brought in a local federal and state MP, and that turned into people coming in from the New South Wales Department of Treasury, and there's people from Austrade, and it's had this like whole flow-on effect, right? And it's been really useful because it's put them on the agenda. We continue to do reach outs to different levels of, ministerial and sort of different departments and policy areas for clients as well, just to keep that visibility up. And it's, again, it's a long-term strategy. It's not like, oh my God, they're going to turn around and award us with $1 million, contracts just because we've written to them. But it's like, I know from working in those offices, it's a squeaky wheel that gets the grease. So it's like you keep showing up as this like passionate business person who's wanting to provide update after update of what you're doing and how you're standing up for the local community and providing jobs and trying to advance your industry. You never know when that will pay off. So it's about having consistent comms going out to your stakeholders and working with government, particularly in the manufacturing side. And then, like to throw to just an example of the power of what like a good segment could do for you in terms of engagement, successful engagement and bringing in sales. I'll use an e-commerce example just because it's easier to look at with the numbers. So we had a client once that was featured on the Today Show with their product. And within that 3 minute segment, we could go into the back of the Shopify store and actually look at the analytics of that segment to see what the spike was in website traffic that came through. So it had about just over 10,000 visitors hit during that segment or just thereafter, massive spike. We know that with conversion rates, we sit around 2 or 3% of the 10,000 visitors that come through, and we knew our average order value was X amount. We could estimate that particular segment for that product would be worth about $30,000. So when we're talking about $12,000 a month PR retainer, and that's something that's just happened in 1 month, and that's yielded $30,000, like that's the potential of what can happen. PR isn't to be considered a sales tool or a lead generation tool though, but can get these really wild, amazing like benefits that just come out of nowhere that you never existed. So it's about consistently laying those seeds. And like some of the most successful campaigns have been the longest campaigns, the ones that are done consistently with thoughtfulness, with really strategic, professional, heartfelt communications, where it is generally about issues and things that affect others, but not the commercial interest of your own business or your products or your services. Like you can't promote your products and services. It's just, that's what advertising is for. When it comes to public relations, it's about trying to find like, where's the news hook? Where's the human interest in this?
Yeah.
So what happens when a business owner doesn't have that profile? He just doesn't have that confidence to exude his own brand story really at the end of the day. What do you do? What kind of tricks do you then implement?
Yeah, I got this question just recently, so I'm getting used to this one. That there are still, you think about it, if you were to Google introverted, entrepreneurs, like there are loads of different introverted entrepreneurs around the world who have still got really good exposure. They do things a little bit differently. Like there are different ways that you can show up. There's different platforms. You don't have to go and do the scary things like the TEDx talk or be on a live television interview if that's not your thing. But, in terms of manufacturing, there's quite a few different like online publications that love taking opinion pieces from manufacturers. Like sit down and write out something that is really important to you in the space that you can provide like insight and anecdotes into and get that published. Or create your own video content around your own scripting and your own dialogue without the fear of being sort of put on the spot. But I mean, if the fear of going out and promoting yourself is because you've got a lack of self-confidence, like if public speaking is something that's scary, like generally the bigger issue underlying that is a limiting self-belief that you're not good enough, or people won't want to hear what you have to say, or you don't sound, you're not a great public speaker. But the truth of the matter is, people don't want to connect with a great public speaker. They just want to connect with a real human being. And some of the best, most engaging speakers that I know are so raw, and it's, you feel like you relate to them because they're not trying to sound better than you or have this sort of presence that makes you feel small. It's like, no, I'm one of you and I'm speaking to you and we're all here together. So I never, even me, I never really loved putting myself out there or doing this sort of thing back in the day, but I forced myself to show up and just start doing it. And I just got better and better at it over time. So I think if you really want to have an edge and you want to be a strong leader of your business, you just eventually have to start training yourself to love it and get stuck into it. And that's what a lot of the introverted entrepreneurs have done throughout history. They didn't start off putting themselves out there, but they ended up becoming very well known because just over time, that's what happens.
Yeah. That's so true though. It's so true that you even think about like how many CEOs we know the names of who have written books now, who have been up on stage, that 20 years ago there were nameless companies with nameless people who ran them. And it's a breath of fresh air to feel like actually you're dealing with real people, not these faceless boards of directors who are just there to commercialize the world and reap the benefits of nature. No, they're people just like us, and they actually do have considerations around what can be done here, what can be done more effectively, how can we better the world as part of what we do. And I think it's an exciting change and movement, and yeah, it's great to see everyone up on stage.
Absolutely, very much so.
What a show! You know what I was thinking during this show? I was thinking, damn, we should just do a rant show one day. We'll just get me, Amanda, you, Grant. We'll find a couple others. We'll just make it a big show. Like, we'll make it a Brady Bunch show. We'll have 9 people on here, and we'll just industry specialists all just ranting about industry. Done.
And we keep it at 7 minutes, of course.
7-minute rant. That's impossible. Impossible. We would then do a wrap after that rant, which would just be another rant, and then it would end up being a 3-hour show. Awesome. Thank you so much, Amanda, for joining us. That was fantastic. And what a great perspective. It's really nice to see other parts of industry and what's happening for you guys, and the similarities as well. Like, we're all experiencing the same things. And it's not just us, business in general, we all move in the same waves, So really exciting. And exciting to see what happens for manufacturing in Australia. I think it's an untapped resource, and Australian manufacturers just they've got the golden egg right now. All they've got to do is crack it, Grant, as always, man, thank you so much for joining us. Everybody who's listening, following along, please like, comment, share. Send us any questions that you have. Send us any guests that you have. If you have a guest that you think might be superb, send them over. Yes, Grant, you had your hand up.
One of the things that I think is important here is that I think Amanda has really unlocked so many hidden things in the sense of how we should be, as business owners, should be thinking about how to position ourselves. And I really felt that you've done a sterling job at really just bringing another side to marketing, in the sense of the value as to how we as business owners need to think in order to bring some relative engagement to the readers, the viewers, the consumers out there. So once again, thank you for that. I think you've really just brought a fresh scope of something that we all need to think about.
Yeah, thank you. I love that feedback.
If you've never, that was like, mate, butter. That was butter right there. If you've never met Amanda, she's also probably one of the best dresses I've ever seen. You've got like top.
But there's no yellow. She told me it's her favorite color.
You should see, when I met her, she was wearing it was like practically a bodysuit. This thing was like incredible.
It was the latest 𝗂𝗏𝗂 suit. Yes, yellow 3-piece suit. Had a waistcoat, the jacket, and the trousers. Very, very fabulous.
See, you have to talk to Amanda. If you're looking for some tips, this is the girl to go to. No, honestly, thank you so much for joining us. Sorry for being a little bit late and a couple of technical issues, but I think it ended up being a phenomenal show.
Really good.
And thank you everyone for joining us, and we'll catch you on the next show.
Awesome. See
See you
ya.
later, everybody.